Many Jersey Shore viewers believe that Deena's husband Chris Bunker has earned the title of favorite unofficial cast member. But even though he's been a fan favorite for years, lately he hasn't been making as many appearances on this show as he used to. So what exactly has been happening with Chris behind the scenes? Most people already know that Chris and Deena have been together for over a decade, but the story about how they first met is pretty surprising. Chris is originally from Edson, New Jersey, which is only about 40 miles away from Deena's hometown of New Egypt. They actually had a lot of mutual friends and would even hang out with the same friend groups, but they somehow avoided running into each other for years before they finally met for the first time. In 2011, some of Deena's friends invited her out to a restaurant to watch football and catch up. About an hour after she arrived, Chris walked in with some of their other mutual friends, but even though he didn't stay for long, Deena was extremely curious about him. After Deena's friends filled her in on some basic details about Chris, she found his profile on Facebook, she added him as a friend, which was the only reason his family believed that he had actually met Deena from Jersey Shore that night. Eventually, Chris and Deena crossed paths again, and not long after they started dating. 6 years later, they finally tied the knot. Deena and Chris have been together for a total of 12 years now and have welcomed 2 sons to the world. Parenthood may actually be one of the reasons why Chris hasn't made as many cameos on Jersey Shore Family Vacation lately. He and Deena had busy lives already with their different jobs, including filming and her clothing line, but now they both have an overwhelming amount of responsibilities. Chris and Deena's sons are still very young. CJ is 4 years old while Cameron is only 2. With Deena filming for the show more often, Chris probably has his hands full with taking care of the boys. Also, the couple made an unbelievable big purchase not that long ago. About a year ago, Chris and Deena bought a massive mansion for a whopping $1.4 million. Earlier this year, they sold their other home, and it seems like they've been busy just getting everything wrapped up and moved. And it turns out that they might be planning on putting all 5 bedrooms in their new house to use soon. In March, Deena shared a photo of her holding a friend's baby to her Instagram story. She tagged Chris and wrote that she wanted another baby in the caption. They're both super involved parents, and Chris is almost always in agreement with Deena's plans, so it's very possible that they will be even busier with another addition to their family in the near future. But that's not the only reason why Chris hasn't been making appearances on the show quite as regularly. Throughout the years, Chris's actual job title has been a major topic of interest for Jersey Shore viewers. During a few of his appearances on the show, his employment has been joked about and briefly referenced, but truthfully, it seems like Chris is talented in many different career fields. According to what In Touch Weekly reported in 2018, Chris was employed at professional sports publications at the time. But just a few years later, we learn about one of Chris's fascinating side gigs. This was definitely unexpected. In a 2021 episode of Jersey Shore Family Vacation, Chris gave the guys haircuts. However, he's not actually a professional barber and was never formally trained in cutting hair, but the end result of Chris's pop-up barbershop was honestly insane. After Vinny claimed that he had never had an electrician cut his hair, Chris set the record straight. He confessed that his full-time electrician job was based in construction, which explains why he seemed nervous that he would mess up the haircuts. Apparently, Chris used to cut hair as a side hustle while he was in college just to make enough money to buy adult beverages. We don't see him partying much these days, especially since he and Deena have 2 young kids. Now, he has much more of a family-centered lifestyle. That doesn't mean Chris has cut back on having fun though. Not only does he get along with the guys from the Jersey Shore cast, but he recently had a good time going out with Deena and the other women as well. Chris's ability to get along with almost anyone proves how unproblematic he is, which is just one reason why viewers want to see more of him. But there's another reason why people hope that he has more screen time in the future, and it's so refreshing. By now, we all know that there have been plenty of toxic characters and cast members on the show, but Chris has always been so genuine with the love and encouragement he gives Deena. Over the years, he's shown his supportive side in so many incredible ways. Before Chris started coming out of his shell on Jersey Shore Family Vacation, he had actually opened up during his experience on another reality show. In 2014, he and Deena appeared on Couples Therapy, where he encouraged her to talk about some really serious issues. Deena admitted that she had close friends who didn't even know about her struggles with anxiety and OCD, but Chris has always balanced her personality and reassured her without making her feel like she's being too much. It sounds like Chris is supportive nature could be a result of how he was raised. His parents and 2 brothers have allegedly always been there for him, and when Deena went through a heartbreaking time in her life, Chris and his family had her back completely. In 2016, Deena's dad became extremely sick after he was diagnosed with leukemia. Chris provided love and stability for Deena every day, but after her father passed away later that year, both Chris and his family showed her their support in a truly unbelievable way. Chris's parents and brothers warmly welcomed Deena and her mom into the Bunker family. They were accepted into Chris's family exactly how they were. That's why it wasn't a surprise when Deena and Chris decided to get married shortly after. Chris has also helped Deena with the relationship she has with her shoremates. In 2021, there was a lot of long-standing tension between Deena, JWoww, Snooki, and Angelina. Angelina hadn't talked to the other women for about a year because of the rude speech they gave at her wedding. But Chris was actually a huge factor in Deena ending the feud with Angelina and finally making amends. Chris encouraged Deena to go to a dinner that Angelina would also be attending. He believed they could ultimately put the issue to rest if they talked openly about it. Thanks to his support, Deena and Angelina were able to move forward and communicate again. It's amazing to see Chris's healthy traits and encouragement and how it positively impacts Deena. But viewers also wish that he had a permanent spot on the show to help break up the drama. After all, he really is Deena's partner in crime when it comes to her pranks and random activities. No matter how strange Deena's ideas are, Chris is always on board to help make them a reality. Sometimes he's the only person who shows any real interest in her activities at first. In one episode, Deena's roommates thought her plan to have them all build cardboard boats was ridiculous, but Chris encouraged her to go through with it anyway and helped her get everything ready, and it turns out that everyone ended up having a total blast. Chris also helped get the camera crew and security guards involved with Deena's master plan to trick her shoremates. They secretly hired a professional to arrange a crime mystery and managed to pull off an absolutely insane prank. Aside from Chris's lighthearted humor, the fact that he's completely uncontroversial is impressive. He doesn't share a lot of personal details on social media other than photos and videos of Deena and the boys. Overall, he seems like a genuinely good guy and a loving husband and father. Many social media users have even suggested that Chris take over Ronnie's spot on Jersey Shore, but as interesting as it would be to see him as a permanent cast member, Chris seems pretty content with just making occasional cameos. There are a few possible reasons why Chris hasn't been appearing on Jersey Shore quite as often lately, but a lot of people consider him to be the best spouse on the show and hope to see more of him in upcoming episodes. And now that we've gone into what's been happening with Chris off camera, I'm curious, would you guys want to see him as a permanent cast member in the future? Why or why not? And what do you think about Chris and Deena's dynamic together? Let me know in the comments below.